Gear up for Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. It's your final word on sports all across the state. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now here are your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
But my team just doesn't respond to adversity very well on the defensive end. People started to make a run offensively and get any kind of comfort in the game. We didn't fight.
Believe in coach and we believe in each other, and it just feels good to come in from where me, Dwayne, and Justin came in from to nail the pan off.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on this Friday evening, January 20th, Peaceful Transfer of Power Day here in the United States. Hope you've had a great day. What a wonderful day here in South Carolina. Cannot beat this weather. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like 1,000 years from now, but I'll take it today, 73, 75 degrees. And a day that I hope you got out and played 36. This is a 36 kind of day this time of year. Hope you got a chance to enjoy it. Now you'll sit back and enjoy a couple of hours with your best friends in sports here at Sports Talk. Phil Kornbluth, the Professor Tom Hayes, K-Mac Kevin McCrary getting a quick jump on the weekend. This peaceful transfer of power thing today got me thinking ahead, and I fear 20 years from now here on Sports Talk, we will not have a peaceful transfer of power. I foresee a coup, perhaps here, trying to take down the kingdom in about 20 years. Not before then.
You have to have, you have to have the Congress sitting there to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, that's deep. It's deep thinking. On a Friday. Troy, you look cold.
I'm not cold.
Okay.
I'm comfortable.
Because it's like 90 degrees in here. I don't know how you could be cold.
You're hot-natured.
Well, no, it's hot in here.
No,
because the building is set for winter. And apparently once they set the building season, regardless of what happens outside, the building is set for that season. So we're set for winter in this building, which happens to be the oldest skyscraper in South Carolina.
The average person is that. I'm cold-natured.
Yeah.
Everybody that shakes my hand
says you're cold
in church says you have cold hands. I say cold hands, warm heart.
Yeah.
Do you know a person who feels colder actually, if they take care of themselves, lives longer than a person who feels heat all of a sudden?
I didn't know that.
I don't know why that is, but
that's surprising news. I'm very excited to hear that.
No, I just made
good time on to other things. Had a good time at the College of Charleston last night. Really good game. Cougars could not hang on to win against a very good UNCW team. UNCW, tall, lanky, lean inside. They made Charleston misdirect shots, going to the basket, blocked some shots. I think they blocked 6 shots on the night. Charleston did not shoot it well, but they had a chance. It was a 2-possession game late. And they had a chance. Charleston's a good young team, only going to get better as they go through the CAA race here. They've got James Madison at home on Saturday. It's a really nice building, the TD Arena there in downtown Charleston. And, of course, you spill out of the arena and you're sitting right there on King Street with everything it has to offer in downtown Charleston.
But, they just couldn't hit the 3 last night.
They couldn't hit much of anything.
When they got close, what was it, about 6 points with about 2.5 minutes to play? I say they got a chance, and they just couldn't hit it. And then the guy from UNCW turned off the wrong foot, off balance, clock running down, threw up just a prayer, and it just nestled through the net, and that kind of took the steam out of them. Who does UNCW remind you of? Louisville.
Well, that's where their coach
came from.
Yeah.
Long, lean, get in the passing lanes, and let their defense turn into offense.
Last night for Getz at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Tigers drilled by the Cardinals, even though they got off to a good start, which makes this final score. And Clemson was leading like 20-11. They ended up getting beat 92-60.
They were leading 13-4 to begin the game. But I knew something was wrong when you saw DeGite hit a jump shot from the foul line. That's all guys shooting last night.
Tigers struggling. That's 5 losses in a row, 11-7, 1-5 in the ACC. So they are at the bottom of the ACC standings. Yet the good news for Clemson is that the prognosticators for the NCAA tournament are still including the Tigers in the tournament field as high as an 8 seed. I think I saw either last night or the day before. And that might have been, I got to go back and check and see if that was after the game last night. Tigers RPI is still pretty good. Their strength of schedule, of course, will help. They return home Sunday to take on Virginia Tech, a good Virginia Tech team, of course, much improved in the second year under their coach. They are 14-4, 3-3 in league play, and coming off a 62-61 win over Georgia Tech. So this will not be an easy out for Clemson at all. In fact, I don't know what the spread is. I would imagine even at home, Clemson might be an underdog in this game. Tigers now, like I said, 1-5. They're in the bottom of the Spurg. So Clemson needs to get it going, or they're going to be looking at staying home come March, just like they did this past March. The Tigers have a game, and then they've got Georgia Tech. So with a home game against Virginia Tech a trip to a struggling Pittsburgh team, and then you get Georgia Tech at home, a team that beats you surprisingly, but you get them at home. I think they've got a chance here to win 3 in a row if they can get back to playing their basketball. But we don't know what their basketball is because they don't play defense the way Brad Brownell has always played defense. I don't think they can. I think he's putting the proverbial, trying to put the round peg in the square hole with this team, and it's just not working.
Well, the difficult thing is, and I was saying that last year when South Carolina had a struggle at midseason, and that is when you're struggling, you're playing against 2 teams. You're playing against your opposition. You could tell by body language last night that Clemson is fragile mentally. When things don't go, start throwing up shots and hoping they go in. They don't look like they're running the play properly, that sort of thing. But then again, if you think about it, they've got great depth at guard, but those guys, a couple of them are transfers. They're just getting into the system. Elijah Thomas, still to me, boy, you can tell he's got it. He just doesn't have the system yet. And Dante Grantham, for whatever reason, just does not. He's lost his confidence right now.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen. And when you're losing, you look for things. Taking a transfer occasionally here or there to help fill a hole is one thing, but Clemson's starting to make a living off of taking transfers. I mean, they've got 3 transfers that are pivotal contributors to their team now, and they've got another one that's sitting out. And it's sort of like well, we can't leave them unhappy wherever they are. But then, a player becomes unhappy where he is. It's either something on him or something on the program, and he ups and leaves. And so you wonder if this strategy is because I don't know if you're getting the kind of player that Brownell normally works with and has won with over his career. Now, I know Shelton Mitchell's a guy they recruited out of high school, did not originally get. These other guys that they've taken are not guys that they recruited out of high school. And offensive contributor to them, but he's not a great defender. Same thing with the transfer from Duquesne. Help me, Marquise Reed. I mean, he's a good offensive player, but he's not the defender in the backcourt that Brad Brownell is used to having. So they're just going to have to outscore people moving forward and hope that they can get enough defense in there to win games. Now, coming up, South Carolina goes to Kentucky tomorrow. How big a game is this for the Gamecocks? We'll hear from Justin Mackey, P.J. Dozier. Also, USC Athletics Director Ray Tanner joins us at the bottom of the hour for his first visit to Sports Talk in the new calendar year. A lot of questions ahead for the Gamecock AD. Stay tuned for that here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back on this Friday night. Sports Talk here on a Friday night. Phil Kornblut, the Professor, Tom Hayes with you. If you want to join us, 800-956-7266. You have a particular question you'd like us to ask of Ray Tanner, feel free to give us a quick call or shoot us an email, talkback@sportstalksc.com, or on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. I'm not saying that we need help. I think we can handle it ourselves, but I thought I'd be nice on this peaceful transition in Power Day and empower you to ask a question of the Gamecocks athletic director. If you have something in particular that's been sticking in your mind that you wanted to ask him but haven't had the chance, that's what we are. We're the conduit. We're the go-between for the fans and the people that we cover. 800-956-7266, the number here on Sports Talk. Ray Tanner coming up, bottom of the hour. And we'll hear some post-game from Brad Brownell. We'll hear some preview from some Gamecocks looking ahead to their game against Kentucky tomorrow night up in Lexington. We'll talk more about them in just a moment as well. And you can relax on and off the court with Gamecock basketball and Founders Federal Credit Union, located in the heart of downtown Columbia. It's less than 2 miles from the campus. The new Founders location is at the Commons at Bull Street. It's opening their full-service Russell House office and their cash and check accepting ATM located at ATM Road. Be sure to visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. A couple of quick notes to pass along to you. Up at Furman, new head coach Clay Hendricks has hired Peter Lusk as his new offensive line coach. He's a 2010 graduate of Academy, where he played for Hendricks, and most recently has served as the O-line coach at the Air Force Prep School. He also was offensive coordinator, and he coached quarterbacks as well at the prep school. So he's worked on the offensive line, coordinating and coaching quarterbacks. Today in Nashville, the NCAA convention wrapped up, and before wrapping up, they approved a proposal that will give at least an additional 21 days away from athletics for the athletes, so they can do other things like study, do an internship, rest, recover, whatever they want to do, fishing,
Get out of shape.
fly a kite, jump out of a plane. The changes result from a vote taken today at the convention by a group of fellow student representatives and administrators of the Autonomy 5 conferences. The purpose of the reforms is to enhance the student experience so these individuals can spend more time engaging in non-athletic activities. But you know where they will be. The football players will be down at the PE Center playing pickup basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's where they always go. And they'll be playing on teams of themselves against other teams in body. At least that was my experience back in the day. You would see them when they were away from football down at the PE Center, hanging out and playing basketball.
Tell you a quick story. We had some football players playing in a pickup game, and the guy stopped the game in the middle of it. And he tapped me on the shoulder. Hey, little man. I said, yeah, what can I do for you? He said, you know, those little bones you throw once in a while, they kind of hurt because it's look like a knife stabbing in you. But please don't do it again because – and then he said,
who was the player?
I can't remember who it was. But what he was trying to tell me, if you do it again, I might have to –
all I remember is got a defensive back on you, you're done. Because, I mean, they were always 2 steps ahead of where you were going. They didn't have to know where you were going. They could just see when you started going there, they would be there waiting for you. So that took me out of any game with those cats. Didn't enjoy that at all. Anyway, this is known as Flex 21, and it gives us students at least an additional 21 days in which they are free from required athletic activities during the academic year. Flex 21 days are in addition to current rules related to time off. So this is something we were talking about the other night here on Sports Talk about, hey, why don't you give these guys a little bit more time off and take some of the wear and tear off of them, recognizing that every sport has different needs. The proposal includes flexibility so coaches, athletes, athletic directors can develop an appropriate athlete time management plan that best suits each sport. The new legislation represents an opportunity for the athletes to pursue ambitions beyond the field of athletics, according to this is a release from USC. This statement was from Thomas Mayron, the president of the USC Student Athlete Advisory Committee and a member of the men's tennis team. The changes apply to 4 time periods. Postseason, under the plan, all athletes would be free of required athletic activities for at least days at the end of a season. Academic year, to allow the athletes to engage in each would be provided at least 14 additional days during the academic year, during which there would be no required athletic activity. In season, beyond Flex 21, every athlete playing the sport will have at least 1 day a week free from sports, including travel during the While current rules require 1 day off per week, teams may currently use travel days to meet that requirement.
Okay.
Well, that's not fair. This proposal would recognize that individual circumstances may require a flexible approach in the application of this proposal, but is intended to provide the athletes with more time away from athletic activities. Overnight, in addition, students would have a consecutive 8-hour block of free time overnight between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Look out, 5 points. Gonna get a little rocky down there.
No, but you know, the big key is I've always thought that it was very difficult, and I know football players have the off-season workout, but basketball to me is that one sport that transcends both semesters. Now, I know some schools still use the quarter system, but you know, you start off, October, November, the season starts. You probably playing even during Christmas break to give you maybe a couple of days off. Then you're back at it the second semester playing the conference season.
The 5 conferences that voted to change the time balance requirements were the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the Pac-12. So we'll see how this works. We'll ask Ray Tanner. He was there. He's coming back from Nashville to be with us. Well, that's not why he's coming back from Nashville. He had to come back anyway. But he plans to be with us, and we'll catch him right off of this meeting and find out more. But I have other things I want to ask him more directly about his school and the way things are going over there, and he'll be coming up here very shortly. The latest RPI, just pulling it up from RPI Live, which is the RPI that I like to look at. There's a lot of different formulas out there for RPIs. South Carolina now 23. They were 22 after their win over Florida. Now they're 23. Somebody must have moved up ahead of them. The Gamecocks with a strength of schedule now of 41. And Clemson, after their loss last night, the Tigers are 41 in the RPI. Strength of schedule 17. So RPI is still relatively decent for Clemson. As I mentioned earlier, I've seen one bracket forecasts that includes Clemson still in it at this point. Of course, South Carolina in it as well. This particular bracket is putting these teams, they're not putting them nearby, which we need that to change. We need one or both to go to Greenville. That'd be great. Well, they should. They put one or both. If you're going to put them in there, put one or both. And if Charleston makes it or Coastal makes it, put them in Greenville as well. I'm looking here at the bracketology from CBSSports.com. Well, they've got the Gamecocks a 7 seed playing Rhode Island in Orlando. That's not too bad. And I'll have to fish around to find Clemson. Back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Good to have you with us wherever you're dialed in tonight across the states of South Carolina on a beautiful Friday evening as we head into a terrific weekend. No better way to take you to the weekend than to welcome into Sports Talk for the first time in 2017, the athletics director at USC, Ray Tanner. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening, Phil. How are you tonight?
We're great. Thank you for joining us. I know that you just wrapped up your time in Nashville at the convention there, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I thought it'd be good to have you on to talk, first of all, about the basketball season that you're enjoying for both the women and the men. I want to get your thoughts on the fact that here we are going into another weekend of games, and both of your teams remain undefeated in SEC play.
Well, it's very exciting. It really is. And, of course, this is, a time that both of our coaches have been building and improving. And, Frank has had his challenges in his career, and Dawn, she didn't have great years when she began. But, the thing about both of our coaches is for success, and they stayed the course. And right now we're enjoying a pretty good run on both sides. I was, as you mentioned, in Nashville at the NCAA convention with the other athletic directors. So we were chatting it up a little bit. Coach Staley's got Mississippi State on Monday night, which has turned out to going to be a really big game for us. And then Coach Martin is headed over to Big Blue for a game tomorrow. So it's exciting, and our fan base has been tremendous. Over 12,000 a game on both sides, averaging that, and it means so much to us. It's created a real home court advantage, and a lot of good things are happening. A lot of outstanding play, and we hope it can continue down the backstretch here. Well,
you've been around Columbia a long, long time now, and you know what the mindset is around here. With this kind of success, both in men's and women's basketball, can you see your fan base getting caught up in hoops the way they do with everything in football, and maybe to just a little bit lesser degree now with baseball? I think baseball has certainly taken its place amongst the fans as far as living and dying with every game. Are you sensing that now with your basketball fans? Are they getting that kind of emotional attachment to the teams?
Well, I feel it. I do think it's the case. And, we all, whatever school we're at, I think you hear the coach speak or the AD speak from time to time about, we got great fans and such loyal supporters. But it is so true here, and it has been for a long, long time, despite, what our records might be. But there is the buzz that's going on. Coach Staley's her attendance has been really good for years now, and Coach Martin continues to build it, and now we're over 12,000 a game, and whatever we had the other night, 17 plus, and it's really exciting. It's special, and you got guys on the floor that they kind of sending you the message that we're going to refuse to lose, and we're in a good place, and I know the challenges will continue to grow, but we're hopeful. We can continue to do well on the court and get to the postseason, and that's what you shoot for. You want to finish first. You want to win the regular season. You want to win a championship. But ultimately, you want to be in the postseason and give yourself an opportunity to advance that way. So got to keep it going.
Well, if anybody in this town knows how to build a championship team and knows what one looks like from the inside out, it's you. Do you see that? We know we've seen it with Coach Staley because she's had her team there. Do you see the makings of that? Not necessarily X's and O's part of basketball, because I don't know how familiar you are with that, but just the internal behind-the-scenes workings with the men's basketball team.
Well, first, the X's and O's, I would be hard-pressed to say I know anything about X's and O's, but, I like some things that are happening. I like the way Coach Martin is handling his team and the trust that he has in them and the trust that they have in him. You got some older guys, and Sindarius missed some games that came back. The guys are committed to each other. Dwayne knows his role. PJ's an advanced player. Silva continues to impress. I know he'll get a couple of fouls too early, but there's just a lot of good characteristics and things that are going on that, you think will carry you from game to game. You don't have to have that guy score 25 a game or else you're going to lose. You can win a different way. And we knew the other night against the Gators it was going to be a defensive battle. And, it turned out to, I guess we were scoreless until, the 14 or 15 minute mark. It was kind of enjoyable, actually, to see something like that. I know some people would say, wow, what an ugly game. But, I thought that was special. Frank's going to make you defend, and it puts a lot of people on edge. And, of course, what Coach Staley has done, and Asia missing some games, and a lot of other players got a lot of quality minutes, and hopefully now she's ready to come back, and she's got great depth. So it's we got two really good basketball programs going right now.
More tomorrow night in Lexington?
You never say never. Kentucky obviously has been really good. They got so much talent, but they probably haven't been defended like we're going to try to defend them, and hopefully it'll frustrate them and lead to some ill-advised shots and give us an opportunity. But, you go play the games, right? Anything can happen.
The 6:30 tip-off times at home that you're having and other places as well, I guess because of the SEC network, have you noticed any impact one way or another on attendance?
Not so much. I noticed that, maybe traffic-wise, the other 30 minutes or so makes a little bit of difference with people, going home after work and people coming into basketball games. It might make it a little bit tighter from that standpoint. But, I have heard a lot of people say they like a 6:30 start because they have an opportunity maybe to have the kids come out and still not be out too late for school the next day. So I think it's been received pretty well for the most part. I hear a little bit on both sides, but, not too bad.
Okay. I want to transition now to we got some questions for you coming in on Twitter, and I'm going to pull this one out from Ryan, who asked us to ask you what quantitative parts of Will Muschamp's plan sold you, and have you seen any come to fruition?
Well, I tell you, and I've told this story from time to time in different places, but during this process, we had an opportunity to visit one night, and it was about a 7-hour meeting initially, and it was a time that I probably asked way too many questions, maybe even to the point that he was thinking, I don't know if I want to spend so much time with this guy. But he just had he had a plan. He'd been through it. He'd coached for a while. He'd been a head coach. It didn't work out the way that he would have wanted it to. But he quantitatively and qualitatively, he gave me an idea of what he was going to do and how he would attack things and how the recruiting would go and what he believed in. He understood the footprint in the SEC. He understood who he needed to have on his staff to help him recruit in this footprint and how we would get it done. And he told me that he thought we had a chance even right away to be okay offensively, and defensively it's going to take a little bit more time. But, I think that, yes, we were in a bowl game. We ended up 6-7, but I think it was a very successful year for us based on where we started. And I think that we're going to do really well on the gridiron in days to come, and the energy and excitement he's brought and his coaching staff is tremendous. So I'm excited about where we are, but more so about where we can go.
Would you say the first year was better than you thought it would be?
Well, I'm always cautiously optimistic. I've never been a person that would run out and say that, I'm fourth in the country and I should be third. I think you have to go into it cautiously, and I think it's been well documented that from a recruiting standpoint, we were maybe not where we needed to be. The challenges were going to be great, and very well could miss a bowl game in his first year, but we didn't, and we were 2-4 at the break. He made some decisions to would bring in Jake off of a red shirt that some people question whether it was the right thing to do or not, but to me, I thought it was a pivotal moment from a few different standpoints. One was he's a good player. He wasn't here in the spring. He had a chance to get better. He maybe wasn't ready when the season started. Some people would argue that he should have redshirted, but then you had a group of players. You had some seniors that were trying to get to a bowl game their last year, and he gave us an opportunity to help us win some of those games down the stretch, and we ended up going 4-2. So I just felt like it turned out very, very special for all of us. Yes, would we like to be in the CFP and playing at a higher level? Absolutely. But that's not where we were, but we have opportunities to grow.
Let me jump in. We'll come right back to you in just a moment. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, visiting with USC Athletics Director Ray Tan. Here for a couple of more minutes. We thank you very much for being paid. More Twitter questions here for you. One's a statement. This one comes from Alan, who says, can Gamecock baseball please start tomorrow or tonight? I think excitement's going to be very high for your baseball team. Preseason polls look very good. I'm on record as saying this team should make it to Omaha. I know that's a strong thing to say because you never know what direction baseball is going to go with injuries and close losses. And you have, as you know, you can have a great team and not make it to Omaha. But this team on paper looks pretty darn good.
It really does. And, I talk to Coach Holbrook quite often, and I know the pitching staff may be as deep as ever. We've had some pretty good pitching staffs here, but he's got starters. He's got guys in the bullpen coming back and position players as well. So it's a great league, and there's so many good teams. But if you can get through the regular season, get a chance to play at home, you do increase your chances. And hopefully that pitching staff will be key for us and they can stay healthy the whole year.
Absolutely. Now you're just back from Nashville, and I guess the big news, the Flex 21 approval, and the athletes will get at least 21 additional days away from their sport to do what they want to do. And tell me how you feel about that.
Well, I've been a proponent of this for a long time, and as a coach, sure that it was in the right place. It's kind of like more is better, and the harder you work, the better you get. You have to invest to get the return, and you just go. And sometimes we forget to pull back a little bit. And this convention was all about student athlete time demands and student athlete well-being. And and I'm 100% on board. I think that they need more time off, and I'm not saying that you have to take a week off here and a week off there, but we got to give them some days. Give an example: preseason college football, because school's not in session. You don't have to take a day off. You can practice 20 days in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. You still got to give them a day off every 7, even though there's no school. You talked about the Flex 21. You get 1 day off a week. Now the coaches got to find another 14 days in there somewhere to give them some time off also. And a lot of times when we talk about a day off, Phil, for student athletes, sometimes it's not really a day off. There's requirements that get called in. The coach wants to see them. They need to do some things. And it's not really a true day off. And now it's going to be. And that includes media requests and media requirements that they'll get a day off. They'll just get a day to get away. And I think that's really good for the student athletes. I think it's great for the coach to have that. And it's not going to keep them from doing things they need to do on their own, but it gives them an opportunity. If they need a day, it's a personal day, an additional academic day, they have that now. And I think it's the right way to do it. It's going to be regulated at a level that never has been before.
Mm-hmm. And we'll understand that this is something that the coaches agreed to as well, such that they're not going to hold this against a player who takes his day off instead of, coming in and watching film for 3 hours or going out and running the stadium steps or doing that little extra thing to get ready. This won't be held against the player.
No, and it shouldn't be. And, I like I said, I probably was guilty in, my younger days as a coach of not just trying to do a lot. And you got athletes now. You got athletes that aren't going to necessarily take too many days off. They're still going to want to go in and do their work, but it's going to be on their timeline. It's not going to be a situation where a coach will be able to put pressure on. That's not going to fly. And does that happen a lot? I don't think it happens a lot anyway, but I think that, there are some players that do those kind of things and spend extra time. But this opportunity, the focus is there now that they need some personal time. They need to rest and recover. If they need to be in the training room, certainly they can be there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go in and get the rehab. But the pressure to do certain things on days off will be really days off. You're not going to be required to even engage in recruiting when you're hosting. If there's a recruit that comes in and it's your off day, you're not expected to be with that recruit. It's your off day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do you think this is the beginning of this sort of thing or the end? What I'm asking is, how things go. You start with 21 days and then, a few years down the road, somebody's going to say, well, we really need 28 days. And
no, I don't think that's the case. And,
okay.
And part of this convention is it's the autonomy of the Power Five, and we have student athletes there. We had 3 student athletes from each conference, and they went to the microphone today and they spoke. And there were some that learned about from working out, and they want to make sure of that. But they're very happy with where we've landed. And no, I don't think that. I think this will be the ending point. It's fair, and so many coaches give student athletes the time that they need. This puts it into a more formal place, and I think that's where we all needed to be. And the coaches have been very supportive, and certainly the athletic directors around the country as well.
All right. Question from Twitter from Tom, who asked for you. Can you talk about the recruiting budget and how much is allocated for football?
Well, it's different. I've talked about this with some of our board members and Dr. Pestis from time to time. We don't have a bottomless pit of money, but recruiting is your life's blood. So we make decisions to give our coaches an opportunity, whether it's football or whether it's volleyball, an opportunity to recruit. If they need a trip or go somewhere, we make sure that happens. We do not limit or do anything to deter the opportunity to recruit at a high level. That is a priority for us. So when you ask about the recruiting, I don't like saying it's whatever they need, but they're able to make the trips that they need to make in a timely way to go see recruits and to bring recruits in. So that's not an area where we limit the opportunity to be successful. Recruiting is a priority for us in all sports.
Did you break even on the Birmingham Bowl trip?
Yes, we did. We actually, we're just just finishing that up. Charles Waddell, our deputy, did a wonderful job. He spearheads our bowl trips, and that's what he focuses on during the entire process. And we did really well from that standpoint. It's yeah, I know it's not received as a great bowl, but the payout is over $1 million, and we were able to do what we needed to do and stay within the budget. So I think we came in just under the cap that we needed to. So it was a successful trip for us financially.
Very good. And I guess the next big building block on your agenda is the football ops building.
Football ops, we're excited about that. The fence is up, the banner's up. We're starting to move some earth out there. We had a big meeting this past, I guess it might have been Tuesday night. The bids are cranking out. We're getting everything underway, and it'll start to get noisy out there here in the next couple of months as we build a fabulous football operations building.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that, right next to the indoor and our great practice field. So when you talk about recruiting, that's providing the resources for effectiveness and efficiency for a young man to come in and play football and to compete at a high level with great resources.
And I got about 30 seconds, but I walked into the old elephant room today at the Coliseum. I couldn't believe what I saw. In 30 seconds, what are y'all doing under there?
Well, Coach Martin is going to move his operation down by the elephant room. We're improving the aesthetics down there. We're redoing locker rooms. We've got 2 practice floors in the old Coliseum. You might have seen that, but we're developing that area as well. So it's an enhancement for men's and women's basketball from a practice facility standpoint. And Coach Martin's offices will move down just near the elephant room and also enhance some of the volleyball experience as well. So we're athletes.
It looks like it. It certainly sounds like it. And congratulations on the start to the year for you. I know football was better than expected. Basketball's been great. I know you're excited about baseball, and you got other good things. We thank you for the time. We'll catch up with you later on this year.
All right, Phil. Have a good weekend.
You too, sir. Thank you. All right, Ray Tanner at South Carolina. Of course, we had Dan Radakovich from Clemson on earlier this year as well. So we've hit both athletics directors here to give you an update on what's happening with both. And there's plenty of excitement to go around at the 2 major schools in our state. Recruiting coming up and more in hour number 2.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Once again, thanks to Ray Tanner for spending quality time with us here on Sports Talk. If you have a comment about his comments that you want to share with us, 800-956-7266. So email us your comment, talkback@sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. Appreciate the questions on Twitter. Your take from what Ray had to say there, Pro.
Well, he's upbeat about his program. I think he's comfortable with all the coaches he has in place right now, and it's just a matter of seeing the fans come back because, you know, if you've been in Columbia for any time, that the latent fan is out there for college basketball if you give them a winner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key right now. In South Carolina, you know, the last couple of games, is going up incrementally from, I think, 13,000 last game for that 14,000, and then 15 plus the other night, close to 16,000. There's a reason that arena is that size. It's not has to do all with the basketball team. Obviously, you have concerts in there, but you got to remember at a major state university and a lot of job opportunities in Columbia, your alumni base is growing every year with each graduate. So if you put a good product on that floor, you're going to get fannies in the seats, and that'll be a key for South Carolina going forward.
Agreed. I mean, you know, the building can be a terrific basketball building when it's full and it's loud.
I couldn't get
the
the
fans are
on
engaged.
The TV the other night
that's
a couple
good.
of times.
That's a good thing. So, yeah, winning again cures everything, and you know, Frank Martin's team can do a lot of good things the rest of this season. They got to shoot better. We'll talk with the players about that coming up. They know they just can't go to Kentucky and play defense. They got to score. Now, Kentucky has not scored less than 87 points in any of its league games so far this year. I mean, you know, I mean, they got 4 freshman starters and a sophomore. I mean, if you're anything other than a freshman starter at Kentucky, you're a bum. Because you're supposed to go there, play 1 year, and go to the NBA. If you're there for 2 years, there's something wrong with you. Though Isaiah Briscoe's a great player. He's a sophomore. He's not a bum. He's averaging about 15 points per game. They have 4 starters averaging in double figures. They've got maybe the best player in the country, Malik Monk. He's averaging 21 points per game. De'Aaron Fox is averaging 17. And the thing about Kentucky, of course, like the blue blood programs, their players are pure basketball players. They can all score. They can all shoot from deep. They can all put it on the floor and take it to the hole. They're long and lean. They defend around the rim well. So that's why Kentucky has won 2,221 games in basketball all time. Okay, that's what they do in Kentucky. Horse racing and basketball is their thing. And it's tough when you're an up-and-comer like South Carolina to break through, to break that glass ceiling, so to speak, against a team like Kentucky, just like in Clemson's case, trying to break through against the Dukes and the North Carolinas in particular, those two. It's difficult from the position they sit in.
And it's not all talent. It's the built-in arrogance of being with that program. That's why when Nolan Richardson and Arkansas got in the league, Kentucky couldn't stand them because they said, here's the people walking in here just as arrogant as we are. Mm-hmm. And boy, those days were great when those two would hook up.
Yeah.
And so teams like South Carolina trying to develop the winning habit, then over time, maybe you develop the arrogance of every time you hit that floor, you got a chance to win in a basketball.
All right, we'll do. Unfortunately, you're going to have to suffer through this to get to recruiting the dessert after eating a bowl of asparagus here, as we welcome in the de facto mayor of the city of Charleston. I was there last night. He didn't come to see me. He is the pontiff of the port city, the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the queen of the cowboy crybabies, and they still haven't stopped crying. And literally the person to turn off the lights at AT&T Stadium last Sunday as the last one out, as the Cowboys lost to the Packers. It's not Jim Rome. Jerome.
Hey, Phil.
What a beautiful city Charleston is. Despite your presence there, I was just admiring how beautiful the city it was when I was there yesterday.
Is Sock and Tom there with you?
Tom's right here.
I'm right here.
Hey, why don't y'all just go ahead and rip each other's spleen out right now instead of waiting? Because that's what it's going to be on Sunday anyway.
Tom, the professor's not a good foil. K-Mac is. He's not emotional. He's not. And I don't feel the hatred towards him as I would say K-Mac if this were the Celtics and the Lakers. I would feel real hatred. You know, Pro is just not the emotional firebrand that others are. So I don't get upset, and I don't wish his team well by any means. I want my team to destroy the Falcons on Sunday.
Right. Hey, did you give the I heard your quarterback. He said he was sick. Did you give some chicken soup or something, or some Tylenol?
Whatever he needs from me, I'll give it to him. He needs a back rub. I'll be there. He needs soup. There. He needs soup. I'll make him some matzo ball soup. Whatever he needs.
Hey, let me tell you something. You're walking wounded this weekend.
We're a little bit.
Got anybody left to play?
We're a little bit beat up at receiver, but they got 2 weeks to get ready for the Patriots if they get by on Sunday. So let's go out there and play hurt.
Hey, I just want to give the Falcons a coaching tip. Could you please run the ball in one hand to Nick Perry? Because if you can't beat a team with a guy in the front seven play with one hand, you don't deserve to win. The guy's playing with one hand and the other hand's taped up like a sling. He's going box. You got to run it. Hey, every chance you get, here comes the freight train.
Well, the key point of the Falcons, and the interesting thing about their offense, Jerome, is the fact that they go sometimes to the old I formation. And let me tell you something. Patrick DeMarco is a valuable fullback. Probably the only fullback left in the NFL.
No. We have a pretty good fullback in Ripkowski.
Oh, yeah, the one that's stumbling around.
We got number 22. He's pretty tough.
I'm talking about as a lead blocker. This guy. And the thing about DeMarco, not only is a good lead blocker, if you leave him out there alone, he'll catch the pass because he is dangerous. But, the key point is as Julio goes, even if he doesn't catch a pass, he just draws double and triple these other wide receivers.
All I got to say to my Packer defensive backs, on his big toe. Just step on the big toe one time.
13 different receivers for the Falcons have caught touchdowns this year. Hey, who you going to guard? Green Bay?
We'll guard somebody. We will find someone to guard. All I want to know is what are the Cowboys doing this, gathering as a team to watch the championships? Or are they out playing golf? What are they doing this weekend?
Hey, they're taking down all the bandwagons. That's what they're doing.
Starting with you.
No, I'm not a bandwagon. Hey, I got my criteria.
Okay.
I'm not a bandwagon jump. Hey, I remember 1966 or was it 67 in the Frost Bowl, okay? I was in front of my little black and white television that day. I remember that game very well.
And what stood out in your mind?
It was like 450 below, and they had to come out and chip the ice off the field so the box start to get like a quarterback sneak to help win the game. I believe that's how it ended. That was a long time ago.
Yep.
But hey,
and Jerry Kramer made the block heard around the world. You're right. I watched that game too on my little black and white television, and I loved every minute of it. I still remember like it was yesterday. Chuck Mersine with the big catch, slipping and sliding down to the 6 or 7 yard line, and the Packers taking it in the incredible Ice Bowl victory that Dan Reeves almost broke my heart.
Yes.
The former Gamecock. All right, we'll be right back with recruiting. Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. On this Friday night across the state of South Carolina, Phil Luke, the Professor Tom Hayes. And thanks to Jerome for taking us into a segment here about the NFL playoffs. Very appropriate. And we've got an expert joining us here to kind of break it down. David Nelson, I'm sure you recognize that name if you're an SEC fan. Played college football with the Florida Gators, has a couple of SEC championship rings, wide receiver, spent several years in the NFL, wrapping things up in 2015 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, has done some work on the NFL Network, a firm grasp of the Final Four. David, how you doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. And, well, what are your thoughts overall about the two championship games coming up on Sunday. Do you're pretty much an old AFC guy, so do you focus more on that side, or do you have the same interest both ways?
Yeah, I grew up in Dallas. So I'm a Dallas kid, Texas fan, Texas. Growing up in the '90s, that seems to be what the cool thing to do was, to be a Cowboy fan. And so I grew up an NFC fan. So my original roots still come back to me whenever times like this.
Sure, certainly. What'd you think of the way the Cowboys and the Packers turned out last week, and just the kind of game that was? And I imagine you have to put that up there among the best football games you've ever seen.
It was, and it was, and the good thing about it, I talked a little bit about this last week, and just making sure people understand that in the National Football League, it's all about playing your best football and being your healthiest at the right time. And we're seeing right now, just with the 4 teams that we have left, all of them are playing their best football. Green Bay had some issues they jumped, but Aaron Rodgers is playing better than I could be so bold to say any quarterback I've ever seen. Just as far as his touchdown to interception ratio, what he's able to do with the like last week, didn't have his number 1 receiver, and he's just elevating the play of those around him. Last week's game was, as a former Cowboys fan, was difficult to watch, but as a football fan, it's games like that, just like the Clemson and Alabama, regardless of who you're rooting for, you just got to be excited and just happy about that game, because it was good for football, and it was just
Okay, we're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. A good bit of background noise there. I don't know if you can get to a little quiet spot there. I do want to ask you, as a receiver, watching Jared Cook's catch over and over again, how difficult a catch was that? I know the throw obviously gets a lot of credit, but what about the catch?
Oh, if I were to give it a level of difficulty from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it 8 or 9. Those aren't easy catches, because everything in you, and as a receiver, the number 1 natural instinct is to catch the ball, secure the ball, make sure that you catch it. But then also at the same time, whenever you're on the sideline, you got to keep your feet down, and just the way his body was positioned. Those are the types of catches that you can try to simulate and practice and in training camp all you want to, but you just can't. You can't always get the perfect situations and prepare yourself. And so at that time, there's certain instances where you just got to let your athletic ability take over. And yes, it was a great throw, like you said, and the play was made by Aaron Rodgers and him escaping the pocket. But at the end of the day, that was a difficult catch. And Jared Cook will be remembered for a long time in Green Bay Packer history.
Oh, no doubt.
When you look at these 4 playoff teams, though, I guess it probably, you look at it on the surface that this is a quarterback-driven league, the National Football League. And the important thing, I guess, is even if the throw is not on target, all 4 of these quarterbacks tend to throw what I call a catchable ball. It just looks like a spiral coming out of the hand that it almost makes you want to just hug it and squeeze it when it comes your way.
Yeah, and I've definitely played with those type of quarterbacks. Guys, just prime example of that when I was at Florida. Chris Leak, and the way he threw the ball, it was the prettiest ball you've ever seen. It just came out of his hands so fluidly, and it was one of those, it just felt like, probably not the best description, but butter. It was just soft. It was easy to catch. It was a receiver-friendly pass. But then, you hear, stories about like Brett Favre and different guys, like Mike, played with Mike Vick, guys who have just cannons of arms and breaking players' fingers. There is a dynamic where that is a little different, and it is a little more difficult to get used to and to be able to catch, but at the same time, it's all 4 of these quarterbacks that rifle on and being the ball there. Like I said, I played with both. I don't have a preference for each other, but right now, this year, it's a quarterback-driven league. Last year, it was a defense-driven league. Who knows what we'll get next year, and that's the beauty of the National Football League.
Now, you wouldn't say the same thing about passes you caught from Tim Tebow?
Oh, man, don't put me there. Tim was a pitcher. He was very strong. And so, he was gifted at being able to put the ball in places that nobody else could because of his strength. That is one of the benefits of throwing the ball knowledge, and he'll be the first one to tell you that he didn't have all the right mechanics. So sometimes the ball didn't come out of his arm the way he would like it to, and sometimes not the way I would have liked it to. But at the end of the day, my job is to come down with it, regardless of what it looks like, regardless of where the ball is. And so I'm supposed to make him look good, and hopefully he does the same for me. And so I'll never have anything bad to say about my guy Timmy.
No, absolutely. Talking with David Nelson, NFL football analyst with the NFL Network, former Florida Gator, former NFL receiver. So let me ask you, who do you see emerging from these games on Sunday and going on to the Super Bowl?
Man, last week I was 3 for 4. I picked correctly the Clemson game, so right now I'm on a little bit of a roll. So pardon me if I feel a little good about my picks right now. Yeah, I'm going to go with, believe it or not, I'm going with 2 road teams and 2 underdogs. Belichick said it great this week. Go ahead and ask Dallas and Kansas City how much home field advantage means in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And so I'm going with the 2 hottest teams. I mean, right now, Pittsburgh and that offense and the big threes they have are playing better than they have since they've been together. It looks like they really have it figured out. And I think they're going to present some problems for New England. And then Green Bay, I'm not a big believer in Matt Ryan and Atlanta's playoff record and their playoff background, but I can't bet against Aaron Rodgers. The way he's playing right now just seems like he's on a mission, and he's just been playing in an unreal type of way lately. So, and I got the Packers and the Steelers.
A little rematch in the Super Bowl. Okay, you brought it up watching Clemson. Your thoughts about Deshaun Watson as an NFL quarterback, and also I know you watched Mike Williams very closely. What kind of NFL career?
Oh man, that kid, specifically Mike Williams, is special to watch. And I really enjoy watching wide receivers play like he does. And I mean that by saying that they're big, they're fast, they're physical, they're aggressive when the ball's in the air, but then they're also aggressive in the running game. And a guy like him, if he can keep that demeanor and he can keep that, and he can overcome that Mike Williams namesake that seems to have haunted so many Mike Williamses in the past.
Yeah.
From college to the NFL.
Yeah.
If he can overcome that, he's going to be a special player. I had a chance to play with Taj Boyd. He went to, we were together with the Jets when he came out of Clemson, and he was highly decorated and he was a very, very phenomenal person. Got to the game. And we had a couple of young quarterbacks, so it wasn't the right situation, right fit for him at the time. But I remember talking to him and really just letting him know how much I had appreciated watching him in college. Even pro athletes watch college players and they appreciate him, and they make sure that they let them know how they felt. But he basically said to me, "You think I did something good? Wait till you see the kid who's coming up behind me."
Yeah.
And so he's been singing Deshaun's praises since he was a freshman. I've been watching him. I'm not big on trying to predict whether or not a player will be a bust or if he'll be good in the NFL, because I've seen players who they thought would be great not do so well. I've seen players who you would think wouldn't do very well that do. It's all about the mental capacity and the mental edge that they have. But man, I'm really excited to see. I was really excited to see how he came out in that game, specifically in the fourth quarter. He played like a guy that of revenge on his mind, and is not going to let that happen.
David, hang 1 second. We got to hit a quick break. We'll come right back. right, recruiting coming up here in just a couple of moments. I didn't want to let David go without finishing up with him and telling him thank you properly. So I want you to have a moment to on Deshaun Watson. Like you said, you're not going to project where he might be, but as far as a draft pick is concerned, but do you think he is a first-round talent and should go in the first round?
I think so. I mean, if you just look at what he can bring to the table, just from his athleticism, his leadership, I mean, what he brings to a locker room is, you just can't chart that from a game film type of perspective of scouting. I mean, you look at what Braxton Miller from Ohio State, what he's been able to do, stepping in and being able to play dual positions. And I think that if needed, I think talent, especially this from his what he's been able to do in the win-loss record, just alone.
All right, and last thing I wanted to ask you, from your days with the Gators, what do you remember about playing, coming to Columbia, playing at Williams-Brice? I don't have the notes in front of me, so I don't recall exactly how you did head-to-head with them back then. But what do you recall about facing South Carolina as a player?
Interesting, because when I was there, it was right about the time when Coach Spurrier had taken over, and having him come back to Gainesville, and it was a little bit of a different feel, if you will. I mean, it was more about Florida playing Steve Spurrier than it was Florida playing South Carolina. It was all week long we just heard about Coach Spurrier's connection to Florida and the background there, and so it was a little different. I always loved playing South Carolina. I had a lot of good friends that played there, so it's an interesting rivalry. I remember, I guess my biggest memory in that game would have been in 2006, the cock block, I guess is what they call when they kicked the field goal to win the game, and Jarvis Moss goes up and blocks the field goal. And we end up winning the game, last second field goal, we end up winning the game, and ultimately going on to win the national championship that year. I think that was Coach Spurrier's first game back in the swamp against Florida. One of the craziest wins I've ever had in my career, college and pro.
Yeah, I think Moss had just come off suspension, and a lot of Gamecock fans say, well, if he had just stayed on suspension one more game, it would have been fine.
Well, I got a national championship out of it.
Yeah. How's your showing the cleat?
No, and the shoulder is feeling better. And last year it was a longer recovery than I had imagined and anticipated. I hoped to be able to come back last year. It didn't work out that way, but shoulder's feeling good. Back to 100%. I'm going to give it another shot and be able to find a roster and stick to it and be able to play a couple more years.
Well, come play for the Panthers and be one of the local heroes here in the Carolinas.
Hey, I like that idea. Well, how about we make that happen?
Yeah. Well, if I had some strings to pull, I'd pull them for you. But you know what? You can stand out on your own talent and get it done, I'm sure.
Amen to that. I appreciate that.
Hey, David, thank you so much for the visit, and enjoy the weekend. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much, man. My pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thank you. David Nelson, former Florida receiver, NFL receiver. He caught, I was just looking at his notes, his NFL career, he caught 130 passes, and I think it was, 10 touchdowns. Had a shoulder injury last year and was put on the IR list with the Steelers. And, of course, that takes you out for the entire year. So good luck to him. Hopefully he'll be able to find a place to return to the NFL. All right. I like the fact that he picked the Packers to win, and I really don't care about the AFC, whether it's the Patriots or the Steelers.
I'm sick of the Patriots.
Well, no, I mean, personally, I'd love to see. I think America wants to see Rodgers and Brady one time because Brady. Of course, he says he's going to keep on playing. Rodgers has still got a lot of years left. We want to see that one time.
Well, you want to see that, but here's an interesting storyline here. New England gets into the Super Bowl, and the only darling that Boston College can say is
not interested. I'm not interested in that storyline. I'm not interested in that storyline. I know you're not interested. That storyline would excite anybody.
Oh, yes, it would.
I think the only storyline that would excite anybody involves the Packers. It could be the Steelers on the other side. That's fine. We could have the rematch from 2010, I think it was.
Now, here's the question.
Now, we're not interested in the Matt Ryan Super Bowl.
Here's the question. Who is the leading?
In fact, we shouldn't have two Southern teams in a row go to the Super Bowl. We just had the Panthers. We can't have another team from the Deep South.
Here's the question. Who had the highest scoring offense in the NFL this year?
Irrelevant.
No, it's not. You say people like scoring. They'll get it in the ATL.
Every game's different. Every game's different. All right, finally we get to recruiting. I didn't mean to push it back this long, but we had so much good stuff. I thought it was good stuff for you. And we have good recruiting here for you as well. Let's see, where do we begin? Continues to intrigue me. Took a little turn today. USC commitment running back Keyshawn Bryant of Fort Lauderdale is taking an official visit to Pitt this weekend. Okay, that's good. Now, after saying for weeks he hadn't heard from the Gamecocks, he acknowledged today he's been contacted again by USC. His quote was, "Yes, just not releasing anything as of right now," end quote. He's been committed to USC since April and has stuck to his commitment publicly despite the lack of contact and reports that USC is not going to take him. I don't know exactly what it means, if there's something spinning behind the scenes there. NC State today offered Ben Lippen receiver Bryce Thompson, currently committed to Virginia Tech. Chapin offensive lineman Hank Manus offered today by NC State. He also has an offer from Georgia State. J.C. Sherbert writes that Manus is an up-and-comer, is going to get a lot of offers. That's what you want on your offensive line. Get yourself a championship wrestler on that offensive line.
By leverage.
That's why I'm waiting for Gage Cervenka to break through at Clemson. He was one of the best wrestlers in the state coming out of high school a couple years ago. USC 2018 running back target Master Teague III of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, picked up an offer from Oklahoma State. USC commitment offensive lineman Jordan Rhodes of Fairburn, Georgia, is visiting Mississippi officially last weekend, committed on Sunday, said afterwards he was shutting it down and not taking any more visits, but he is. He had this visit planned to Mississippi State and went to Missouri for next weekend prior to committing. USC commitment defensive back Jamias Williams of Loganville, Georgia. This is the Gamecocks version of the big ulcer of this recruiting season, the one where you need to take the Rolaids.
Maalox.
He has set 9 o'clock on National Signing Day for announcing his final choice.
At night?
Which tells you, this guy's no more committed than I am to what could I be committed to? Not eating this weekend. That's how committed he is.
Wow.
He's also considering Georgia, and, of course, he's taking his official there this weekend where he is just going to be swarmed by Georgia recruits. Scheduled to visit USC next weekend. Recent comments from Williams indicated the Bulldogs have improved their position with him and is a threat. Ooh, I should have written are a threat for turning him from the Gamecocks, but we shall see. Georgia commitment defensive end Robert Beal of IMG Academy in Florida not visiting USC this weekend as scheduled. Told us last night he has the flu. Right now he does plan to visit next weekend. Ole Miss was in to visit offensive lineman Tony Gray of Loganville, Georgia today. He visited USC last weekend and goes to Florida this weekend. Defensive lineman Jalen Twyman of Washington down to USC in Pitt, announces signing day, has taken official both. He was going to visit Missouri this weekend. He is not. This weekend, defensive back Mike Hughes of Garden City Junior College in Kansas is visiting USC. This is a big visit. I feel like they're going to lose somebody in the secondary. They would like to take this guy. And this guy might be a take in and of his own because he's very, very good. Running back Travis Etienne Jr. of Jennings, Louisiana, Clemson's running back target, visiting Clemson this weekend. Ben Lippen quarterback Patrick McClure taking an official at Jacksonville University this weekend. Defensive back Lane Bodkin of AC Flora and defensive back Cole Brown of Blythewood committed to the Citadel. Receiver Justin Pendergrast of South Point committed to Limestone. 2018 offensive lineman Trey Hill of Warner Robins, Georgia was offered by USC Thursday. He also has a Clemson offer, and USC offered 2019 offensive lineman Keandre Jones of Hoganville, Georgia. He also has a Clemson offer. More coming up. All right, back with you, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Yeah, we're just seeing on ESPN the touchdown by Bart Starr. Oh, they're calling this the number 2 all-time playoff play, and the catch would be number 1 by Dwight Clark. There it is. Well, I don't know. That was a great catch, but one was for a championship, and the other was for a conference championship. One was for the championship. You know, whatever. They're both great moments. Hey, if you're a Gamecock fan or a Clemson fan, or you support somebody else in our state, you know we can all agree on Founders Federal Credit Union, with Founders' newest office coming to the Commons at Bull Street in Columbia, plus the convenient Clemson office. Founders, it's a sure fan favorite. Visit Relax, join Founders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is FUA. More recruiting. Oh, we're not done. You think we're done? We're not done. Pro, are we done?
No,
we're not done. Update defensive end Brad Johnson of Pendleton. This is going to be one to keep a close watch on here. At one time, it appeared USC would be a lock, but Virginia Tech's kind of come in here and muddied up the thing for the Gamecocks. Coleman Hutzler from USC was in today to visit with him. Earlier this week, he had Justin Fuente and 2 assistants in from Virginia Tech. Fuente for his in-home. Coach Paul home visit. They're coming back next week, minus the head coach. And they told him they'll go all the way to signing day with him. And the coach told us that Johnson told him the other night he wished he could go to both schools. He really loves both schools and both staffs. He didn't want to go all the way to signing day, but right now he is legitimately torn, as coach said. Virginia Tech has made inroads because of consistent recruiting success on the field last season. USC's Will Muschamp will be in next week for his in-home visit. Of course, Johnson's already taken his officials to USC and Virginia Tech. And the latest on Hamza Nasir-Ildeen of Concord, North Carolina, USC committed defensive back. The drama, however, is not over because Florida State continues to pursue. The Seminoles were in this week. Jay Graham, the recruiter, was in this week, according to his coach. Then I see a report on a Florida State website citing a source that Jimbo Fisher may have also been in on that meeting when Jay Graham was in this week. So getting his in-home visit with Nasir-Ildeen. Coach Glenn Padgett tells us that Florida State's remained very active. And he's talked to Hamza, and he said that the visit to USC last weekend went very well. He's got a good rapport with the coaches at South Carolina, comfortable with the coaches there. The direction of the program is going. He told his coach, who told us that he told the USC coaches he remains committed to them. And he's excited about what they are doing and his potential for playing next year. Of course, now Nasir-Ildeen has not gone public to say he's shutting things down and will sign absolutely with USC. And his coach said that he doesn't know that he's going to do anything publicly like that until signing day. He's 17 years old. He's got everybody and their brother trying to tell him what to do. His coach said a lot of adults, one of which is not him. The coach said he's staying out of it. And right now he doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's just trying to figure this out on his own and using the people that are closest to him and the coaches at South Carolina and go from there. That's according to Coach Padgett. They've got a signing day ceremony on February 1st at 2 o'clock. Typically, historically, it's been at 2 o'clock. The coach they have a new administration at the school, so he's not exactly sure what time they'll do it. It's been 2 o'clock in the past. And today, USC was down in Orlando and handing out offers left and right, mostly at Jones High School. Receiver, Seven Banks. Defensive end, Jalen Joyner. Defensive back, Imani Partlow. Defensive end, Stacy Kirby. Those are all 2018 guys. 2019 offensive lineman Cameron Vaughn and 2020 receiver Dominic Hill. They all received offers from USC today. And Clemson this week was in to check on tight end Chikozum Okonkwo of Powder Springs, Georgia.
Try to sew that name on the back of his jersey.
Chikozum Okonkwo. I'm sure I'm wrong, but that's how it looks to me. There you go with recruiting. Now, remember, it's a light recruiting weekend in terms of official visits at USC and Clemson only one uncommitted recruit visiting at each place. USC will also have a committed player in, the wide receiver from Georgia, coming in for his visit. Give me a second and I'll tell you who it is, because I've had so many names going through my head, it slipped past me. It will be, Chad Terrell. He's coming in for his visit this week. From that standpoint, there won't be a whole bunch of stuff, but we'll be on top of it. And any recruiting news we get over the weekend, of course, we'll post it on our website. Just looking for other visits that we'll be following. Of course, we'll be following up on Keyshawn Bryant to Pittsburgh, Jordan Rhodes and his visit to Mississippi State. Now, Aaron Sterling, a USC target, is doing the Georgia-Tennessee double this weekend. And Devontae Wyatt, a USC target, will be at Georgia this weekend, as will Jamias Williams. Tony Gray, a USC target, offensive lineman, is going to Florida. So those are the ones that we'll be keeping a close watch on, along with the other few players who are still out there being recruited as uncommitted players. All right, Presbyterian football coach Tommy Spangler today announced the hiring of Mitch Doolittle as his defensive coordinator and Taylor Cornett as his tight ends coach. Doolittle is a former PC quarterback, and the last 5 seasons he was the secondary coach and co-special teams coordinator for Mercer. And under his watch, Mercer totaled double-digit interceptions in each of his first 3 seasons, leading the SoCon with 13 in 2014. He has also coached linebackers at Savannah State, and he also served as a GA at UAB for 2 seasons.
And Coach Lamb is over at Mercer, isn't he?
He is indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Doolittle, he played for Spangler when he was the head coach back in 2003 and 2006. Played quarterback, receiver, and special teams. He was on that team that went 10-2 and won the South Atlantic Conference Championship in 2005. Cornett was an offensive assistant with the Blue Hose last season, primarily coaching the tight ends before receiving the promotion to full-time status. He's out of Columbia. All right, there you go. Now, I wanted to get back to something we talked about earlier. Excuse me? Did you say that on my air? You did not say that on my air.
I can, if you'd like.
You can say it on the air, and then I can, make a fool of you. But before you say that, I wanted to tell you that I found Clemson here in this projected this bracket by CBSSports.com. A 10 seed playing Northwestern in Indianapolis. So you got South Carolina projected right now as a 7 seed, moved up 3 seeds to play Rhode Island in Orlando. And Clemson, a 10 seed, down 1 spot to play Northwestern in Indianapolis. Well, so Clemson's still hanging in there in terms of the tournament.
Well, see, the primary thing is for Clemson and South Carolina is they have consistently gone to the tournament. Sometimes if you're a team, you like to stub your toe one time and maybe you come back with maybe a lot of the players you had the year before. See, if it was Frank Martin's deal, he would have gone to the tournament last year. Now they go back to the tournament and say, okay, now we know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But see, he couldn't do it because they didn't let him in last year.
Well, they got screwed last year. I mean,
yes, they did.
Should have been in. That team was good enough to be in. And they thought they were in right up until 6:45 on Selection Sunday, until when somebody leaked the bracket. I sure hope they have fixed that problem. You want to say? I know it's not important, but go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I think it's going to be a great game between your Falcons. Oh, my Packers.
Falcons.
My Falcons.
So you're already
your
delirious.
We're all ready.
Did you take
for
a soccer ball to the noggin the other night?
Yeah, it took a big one.
Yeah.
The officiating crew for the game, though, the least penalties of the season. So it should be a good, brutal matchup in that one. That's what I'm excited to see.
Thank you. All I got to say is, please, if there's a God, let the Packers win.
And rise up. Go
The
Falcons.
God will be Dwight Freeney, the old man, to sack him on the last drive.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy your sports, and we'll see you Monday night.